There's a well-known episode in the first half of the epic Mahabharata. Guru Dronacharya has set an archery test for his pupils. The target is the eye of a bird sitting on a tree. The Guru asks his pupils one after the other, "What do you see?" The pupils describe the scene before their eyes, the tree, the bird. None of them are allowed to shoot the target. Then comes the turn of Arjun. Dronacharya asks the same question to him and Arjun replies, "Respected teacher, I only see the eye of that bird." The Guru is satisfied and allows Arjun to shoot the arrow. He hits the target with precision and all praise his power of concentration. But this episode has an epilogue. The entire episode is narrated by Dronacharya's son Ashwathama to Karna, who has acquired equal proficiency in archery despite being deliberately neglected by Dronacharya. Ashwathama then asks Karna, "How would you have answered my father's question?" Let us hear Karna's response in his own words. "I took a moment. I imagined myself to be on that stone plinth and assumed the archer's pose. I stared fixedly at the bird's eye and replied to him, 'Ashwathama, if this question had been posed to me, I would have said I did not see anything. Because when Karna is before a target, he doesn't remain Karna. His entire being is transformed into an arrow. Not just an arrow, but its head and the bull's eye. I would have said, a space as big as a sesame seed is stuck to the pointed end of my body." The same night, Karna showcases his skill in the presence of his brother Shon by hitting an even difficult target. This episode that effectively portrays Karna's skill in archery and his huge self-confidence is from the novel Mrityunjay, the Conqueror of Death. Today, in the 68th episode of Granthayatra, we are going to discuss this novel written by Shivaji Savant. The writer Shivaji Savant was born in 1940 in a town called Azra in Kolhapur district. After completing his schooling from Azra, he took admission for a degree in Bachelor of Arts at a college in Kolhapur. However, he abandoned that course after 1 year and obtained a diploma in commerce. He went on to teach at the Rajaram High School in Kolhapur for 12 years. Thereafter, he became the editor of a magazine called Lokashikshan in Pune, published by the government of Maharashtra. Savant wrote extremely popular novels such as Mrityunjay based on the life of Karna, Yugandhar based on the life of Lord Krishna, and Chhawa based on the life of King Sambhaji. He celebrated the intrinsic forces in human life through writings based on Indian archetypes and history. In addition, he also wrote light essays and biographies. Savant has successfully explored the emotional world of his protagonist Karna through his novel Mrityunjay, which was published in 1967. He has built Karna's character by carefully highlighting his tragic, anguished life along with its numerous references against the vast universe of Mahabharata. The novel begins with Karna's narrative. Savant describes Karna's joyous childhood spent in Champanagari on the banks of river Ganga, his gradually increasing awareness of his strengths and his subsequent uneasiness, his arrival in Hastinapur and his humiliation by Dronacharya, so deftly that the readers can picturize Karna's upbringing before their eyes. The day of assessment of the art of warfare, the day that forever changes Karna's life, dawns. As the education of the Kaurav and Pandav princes is complete, Dronacharya arranges a series of contests to give them an opportunity to display their skills. Karna, who has anointed the sun deity as his guru for learning warfare and who has achieved a mastery in the art, is eager to participate in the contest. But on that very day, Karna experiences inauspicious omens indicative of his unfortunate fate. Describing the restlessness in Karna's mind when repeatedly faced with circumstances that had stalled his valor, Savant writes, Infinite ants began to ferociously sting the wounded serpent of mind. Why have my earrings faded today? Why is the sky overcast? What great devastation do these signs herald? The seed of which poisonous plant will be sowed today? What is my fate? Why am I born with these earrings? Despite repeatedly facing such circumstances that eclipse his brightness, Karna continues to shine with his intrinsic light. He challenges Arjun, who had been declared the winner of the contest, and enters the ring. This is the deciding moment for him to prove his capabilities before the royal family of the Kuru clan and the assembled citizens of Hastinapur. Savant's description of Karna's emotional state at this point is in a way the description of his brilliant personality. Now, Karna was no longer Karna. He was not the boiling juice of iron nor the thunderbolt. He was not the brother of Shon or the friend of Ashwathama. He was not anyone's son nor a brave young man of Hastinapur participating in this contest. He was not even a pupil starving for an opportunity to prove his worth to Arjun or Guru Drona. He had no idea where he was. He did not even care, because now he was a shining ray of the sun god, a fast moving and burning ray, a ray that sliced through the earth. He no longer saw the thousands of spectators before him. He did not hear the beating of his heart in his ears, nor did he hear the thunderous applause. He was not agitated because of his boiling body, because he was simply a ray of light, an uncontained, endless ray connected to infinite light, a ray that did not have an independent existence, a ray that traversed universe unhindered, a ray that blinded the world with its intensity, a ray that shattered the belly of darkness, just a ray of light. This novel is narrated by several characters. The story progresses through the narratives of Karna, Kunti, Duryodhan, Karna's wife Rushali, Shon, and Krishna. Savant effectively portrays the character of Karna, who falls for Duryodhan's pretensions of friendship, who nurtures the hatred for Pandavas in his mind, and who is unable to save his brilliant self from the web of vice and virtue because of adverse circumstances. Although the events in Karna's life are well known, Savant succeeds in unfolding his burning mind through this novel. When Duryodhan declares him the king of the kingdom of Anga, Karna thinks, "And that is why I accepted his kingdom of Anga, thinking that a friend in need is the true friend. I forced myself to sit on the throne that was stuffed with the burning and sizzling embers of the shouts of the son of a charioteer, emanating from thousands of mouths. Not just for the love of the status of a king, because only I knew the infinite misery of being called the king of an independent kingdom by the same people who had earlier insulted me. I have spent several sleepless nights recently torturously wondering about my future. The one thought haunted me like a flea haunting a dog. Why do the words, the son of a charioteer, make me so angry when that indeed is the reality? Why don't I feel proud to be the son of a charioteer? When addressed as the son of a charioteer, why do drops of my blood begin to gallop like uncontrolled wild horses? What exactly is mind? Why does it create this horrible storm of conflicting thoughts in my brain? I found no answers, nor was I ever going to find any. Savant uses psychoanalytical techniques to explore why Karna did not heed his conscience at crucial moments such as the game of dice, disrobing of Draupadi, and slaying of Abhimanyu, as he had relentlessly faced hatred and insult in his life. Savant had studied the epic of Mahabharata in depth before writing this novel. Especially in the preface to this novel, he mentions the two narrative poems in Hindi, Karna by Kedarnath Mishra and Rashmi Rathi by Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, with gratitude. The battle scenes in the novel Mrityunjay are especially par excellence. The battle at Draupadi's Swayamvar, the battle with Chitrarath Gandharva, the battle following the theft of King Virat's cows by Kauravas, Karna's battle expeditions, and of course the final war. The descriptions of each of these are unique and awe-inspiring. Before writing the novel, Sawant had camped at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The novel Mrityunjay was conferred the Murti Devi Award by Bharatiya Jnanpith. The novel has been translated into most Indian languages and into English. We have with us today Dr. Rashmi Watane, a researcher of Sawant's writings, who will talk to us about this novel.
शिवाजी सावंतांनी मृत्युंजय या पौराणिक कादंबरीतून साकारलेली महारथी कर्णाची अमरगाथा आज 55 वर्षांनंतरही वाचकांच्या मनावर अधिराज्य गाजवत आहे. कारण सावंतांनी कर्णाला एका देशनिष्ठ शास्त्रवृत्तीचे प्रतीक मानले आहे. मृत्युंजयची अर्पण पत्रिकात मातृभूमीच्या संरक्षणासाठी धारातीर्थ पडणाऱ्या शूरवीरांसंबंधीच्या आदराची, आत्मीयतेची आणि कृतज्ञतेची भावना दर्शवणारी आहे. मृत्युंजयमधून जसे कर्णाचे पूर्ण चरित्र पुढे आले आहे, तसेच महाभारताचे एक लघुरूपही साकार झाले आहे. महाभारताच्या युद्धात अनेक महारथी धारातीर्थी पडले, परंतु मृत्यूनंतरही मृत्युंजय ठरला तो म्हणजे महादानशूर कर्ण. मृत्युंजयच्या 9 प्रकरणात 6 स्वगते आली आहे. त्यापैकी 4 कर्णाची असून उर्वरित स्वगते कुंती, दुर्योधन, वृषाली, शोण व श्रीकृष्ण यांची आहे. परंतु त्यांचा केंद्रवर्ती आधार मात्र कर्ण हाच आहे. कर्णाच्या जन्मापासून मृत्यूपर्यंतच्या सर्व घटनांची गुंफण करताना सावंतांनी आपल्या कल्पना शक्तीच्या आधारे कर्णाच्या जीवन कहाणीला भरीव आणि अर्थपूर्ण सौष्ठव प्राप्त करून दिले आहे. दानशूरपणा कशाला म्हटले जाते, संयम कसा असावा, मैत्री कशी जपावी आणि अहंकार व शक्तीचा गर्व कसा मोडावा, या सर्व प्रश्नांचे समर्पक उत्तर मृत्युंजय मधून मिळते. कर्ण हा वृषाली व सुप्रिया यांचा आदर्श पती आहे. मुलांवर प्रेम करणारा वत्सल पिता आहे. आपला भाऊ शोण याच्यावर जीवापाड प्रेम करणारा, आई वडिलांविषयी जिव्हाळा व आदर बाळगणारा पुत्र, वडीलधाऱ्यांचा मान राखणारा आदर्श तरुण, गुरुजनांविषयी कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करणारा शिष्य, मित्रांसाठी सर्वस्व अर्पण करणारा हितचिंतक, अशी कर्णाच्या व्यक्तित्वाची नानाविध रूपे मृत्युंजय मधून पुढे येतात. मृत्युंजय कादंबरीच्या आरंभीच कर्ण आज मला माझ्या आयुष्याचा तो भाता सर्वांसमोर स्पष्ट उघडा करायचा आहे असे सांगून आपल्या विषयीच्या गैरसमजाची, अन्यायाची जाणीव करून देतो. कर्णाच्या जीवनात माता, वचन आणि धर्म हे 3 सर्वश्रेष्ठ मानबिंदू आहेत. आपल्यापाशी जे नाही त्याचा पश्चाताप करण्यापेक्षा जे आहे त्यात आनंद मानून घेणे हा कर्णाच्या स्वभावाचा विशेष गुण मृत्युंजय मध्ये जाणवतो. आपण जी दुःख भोगली, उपेक्षा अनुभवली, ती दुःखे या भूमीवर कधीच आणि कोणत्याही रूपात कुणाच्याच वाट्याला येऊ नये अशी शेवटी तो इच्छा व्यक्त करतो. यातून आपल्या दुःखापेक्षाही इतरांच्या सुखाचा विचार करणारा कर्णाचा उदात्तपणा सहजच जाणवतो. मृत्युंजयचे आणखी वैशिष्ट्य म्हणजे ही कादंबरी इतर कादंबऱ्याप्रमाणे एकमुखी गोष्ट नाही, तर महाभारतातील विविध पात्रांच्या मुखातून उतरणारा कर्णाचा जीवनपट आहे. मृत्युंजयच्या वाङ्मयदृष्ट्या विचार करता यातील उपमा, प्रतिमा, प्रतीके, वाक्प्रचार, म्हणी, कल्पनारम्य भाषाशैली व त्यांचे शब्दसामर्थ्य लक्षवेधक ठरणारे आहे. उदाहरणार्थ, आई म्हणजे तर मायेचा विशाल सागरच होता, किंवा पतीशिवाय स्त्रीचं जीवन म्हणजे ज्योतीशिवाय वाल. नियंता हा जर एक चक रंगविणारा कुशल रंगारी असेल तर स्त्री त्यानं रंगवलेली सर्वश्रेष्ठ रंगाकृती म्हटली पाहिजे, इत्यादी प्रतिमा. याचप्रमाणे सोनेरी चर्या, चंदेरी पाणी, मनाचे भुजंग, शंकेच्या मुंग्या, अशरण रक्त, दैवाचा समुद्र इत्यादी उपमा त्यांच्या भाषाशैलीला सौंदर्य प्रदान करणाऱ्या आहेत. आगपाखड करणे, दातओठ खाणे, हंबरटा फोडणे इत्यादी वाक्प्रचार यासोबतच उपमा, प्रतिमा व अलंकाराची रेलचेल मृत्युंजय कादंबरीत जाणवते. ह्या त्यांच्या लेखनशैलीचा अविभाज्य घटक आहे. याशिवाय कादंबरीतील चित्रमय वर्णन व सूक्ष्म निरीक्षण सावंतांच्या सखोल व्यासंगाचे व चिंतनशील वृत्तीचे निदर्शक आहे. अत्यंत ध्येयवादामुळे ही कादंबरी कर्णाच्या जीवनाची शोकांतिका ठरली आहे. काही ठिकाणी कर्णाला श्रीकृष्णापेक्षा उदात्त दाखवण्याचा प्रयत्न लेखकाने केला आहे. असे असले तरी मृत्युंजय ही एक कादंबरीच्या तंत्राच्या दृष्टीने उत्तम कादंबरीच ठरली आहे.
Sawant has dispelled the deep-rooted false assumptions about Karna from the Indian minds and won justice for the character of Karna through his novel Mrityunjay. Karna's journey from a villain to a superhero because of this novel is its true success. When Karna, who's brilliant like the sun, the greatest archer ever, and a donor who satisfies a seeker even on his deathbed, falls on the battlefield, Sawant writes in the words of Krishna, "It was now my moral duty and mine alone to ask his final wish, my duty alone. I hastened ahead, bringing my mouth close to his torn earlobes, I whispered, 'O son of Kunti, what is your dying wish?' He opened his dizzy but beautiful eyes with great resolve. I could clearly see a couple of tears in his eyes. What were those tears for? Grief? Contrition? Oh no, they were the tears of fulfillment and gratitude. It was a contentment at hearing me address him as the son of Kunti. He began to whisper softly, 'O Lord of Dwarka, my final wish is that you should perform my last rites on a virgin land, on a virgin land.' His voice was very low. Virgin land? What does that mean? I did not understand what he meant exactly by those words, so I murmured, 'Yes, virgin land. A land where not even a blade of grass has ever grown or would ever grow. My sorrows, they should never, on this land of mortals, should ever sprout again. That is why these elements should dissolve on a virgin land.' Do read this extraordinary novel based on the life of Karna. We shall meet again in the next episode of Granthayatra to understand an experimental play. Until then, keep reading.